This episode is sponsored by SmartVestor. Connect with an investing pro for free at RamseySolutions.com/invest. You're listening to Ramsey Everyday Millionaires, where we talk investing, retirement, building wealth, and outrageous generosity.
Eunice starts off this hour in Philadelphia. Hi, Eunice. How are you?
Hi, Dave and Jay. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
Okay, so I have a dilemma. My husband, he's only 50 years old, and he was deciding to retire. He's only 50 years old.
So he's only 50 years old.
So I don't.
Are you worried about him just not having anything to do, or are you worried about the money?
Both.
Okay. What does he do? What does he do?
He's in IT. He's a computer programmer.
Okay. Why does he want to retire at 50?
He thinks he's ready.
He thinks he's ready.
I think he wants to join the F.I.R.E. movement.
The what movement?
The F.I.R.E. movement. So that is financially independent, retire early, which a lot of people are into now for anybody who doesn't know. And it's this idea of having a certain amount set aside. I mean, it's a retirement plan, but it's all about retiring early.
Okay, so retiring early would presuppose that you hate your job. Okay, I'm 62. I was just talking to somebody a while ago. I do not plan to retire, ever. And I've got millions of dollars. You know why? Because I love doing this. I'm going to come on here so long that I don't make sense anymore.
Does he plan?
He wants to get to another field.
Okay, then he's not retiring. He's changing careers.
Yeah, but there's no guarantee on income.
There's no guarantee on income on anything.
Is he going into business for himself? Is that what it is?
He wants to manage our finances.
That's his career?
Well, that's what he wants to move into.
So how much money do you guys have? What's your net worth?
Our net worth is about, I just checked this, about 3.8.
I'm sorry?
800,000?
3.8.
Oh, 3.8.
No, $3.8 million. Okay.
Yeah.
It does not a full-time job to manage $3.8 million.
That's what I'm saying.
Not even close. It's not even a part-time job. Unless you're going to do something really, really stupid.
That's what I'm about to say. He's going to start doing some day trading and some...
Yeah, we're going to play crypto. We're going to play a bunch of gambling stuff. No, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you do have the right to want this to not happen.
He doesn't gamble, but yeah, he wants to, I guess he's tired in the corporate world, and so he wants to try doing something else. And
you're saying about 7 different things. So I think what's the problem is there's no clarity. There's a lot of ambivalence, and ambivalence always causes anxiety. So he says retire, you hear quit and blow all our money. Then he says retire, and he means he wants to start a different career, an encore career, which, by the way, is perfectly fine. He might make more doing that than he makes now. He says he's sick of corporate America. Well, that's easy to get. So I completely agree with that. So he wants to start his own gig, doing whatever. I don't care. Sitting on my butt and calling $3.8 million my full-time job, wrong answer. Sitting on my butt, period, and living off of the income from $3.8 million, highly, highly unsatisfactory as a life. He will be depressed in 24 months. People who do not do things for other people and just sit on their butt and consume are not happy people. Hedonism has never had a good end to it.
Yeah, well, I guess I wasn't so clear. Retiring from his corporate job. But,
quitting his corporate job to do something else, awesome. I'm in. Yes, you got $3.8 million. You got nothing to be afraid of. Quitting and move on to another job, yes. But quitting his corporate job and doing nothing or managing $3.8 million a full-time job, those aren't true. Those aren't good plans. They're not good life plans.
No.
Much less financially.
Eunice, are you still working?
I am working, but I don't earn as much as him.
What does he earn?
Well, he earns 150 plus bonus.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I only earn half of that.
Okay. So I think you guys need to sit down and say, what I'm really concerned about is that you do something, not for the money.
Well, that's what he's assuring me. He's assuring me that he's doing something. But for me, it's opportunity cost. It's definitely 150K or more loss.
You don't need money. You got plenty of money. Mm-hmm. You're not going to go hungry. $3.8 million at 10% is $380,000 a year without touching the principal. You don't need money.
Have you guys paid off all your debt?
Well, we do have about 300 debt on 2 properties, but that is being rented, so the rent is paying that off.
Yeah. So what you guys have not done is the two of you need to sit down with the television off and spend a Saturday planning and talking about what it is he is going to do next. Nothing is not on the list.
He had mentioned that he wants to teach part-time. He feels that that's more rewarding than what he's doing right now.
It sounds like he's not sure, because we've heard corporate, we've heard managed financing, we've heard teach.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he's saying, that he's going to keep himself busy by teaching, at the same time managing our finances, but he wants to leave his corporate job.
Okay. I think I'm going to give him advice, but it's dangerous because I'm not sure I have a good clear picture. Mm-hmm. You have enough money to not have to work. Not working, not doing anything, or dumbing down your career and calling that satisfying is not going to work for you. Getting out of corporate America, awesome. Teaching part-time and making $15,000 a year and calling that fulfilling is absolute BS. This he's wired with more electricity than that. That's going to get really, really boring. Yeah. He could already be teaching part-time if he really wanted to do that. And
he's going to figure that out, but he's going to learn it the hard way.
Yeah, he really needs to find something to lay his hand to. Mm-hmm. This idea that I'm going to go. I had a friend of mine sold his business for $15 million. He was 31 years old, and he said, "I'm going fishing." After 2 years, he was very fat.
It's all that fish.
Fishing. All he did was fish and drink beer, and he hated himself. And he went and opened another business and has had 3 different careers since then.
I bet.
And made that much more money again. But you can't sit on the boat and fish and drink beer. It doesn't work. As a person of faith, I look at this money thing through the lens of a biblical method of living. Now, you don't have to, and you and I can be friends, but that's what I do. And so I love the quote when it comes to financial independence that Bob Gass said. The guy from the Northeast, a preacher, old Pentecostal preacher guy. He said, the definition of prosperity is having the money to do God's will in your life.
Yes.
So if you are living on the mission field in a third world country, it doesn't take a lot of money to pull that off. You don't need $300,000 a year. Mm-hmm. And if you're living on the mission field and if that's God's will for your life, let's assume it is, and you've got the mission work is funded where your family can eat, you have reasonable safety, reasonable shelter while you're doing the mission work, but you're in a situation where it doesn't require a lot of money to do, in quotes, God's will for your life, then you are prosperous. You are very prosperous by definition. If you are called to run some massive thing, it might be millions and millions of dollars to run some. That's God's will. He's asking you to do that, and so one of the things I do around here is I judge the stuff we do at Ramsey. Okay, is this project, this thing we're getting ready to launch, this new brand, this new effort, this new whatever, is that God's will? Is he wanting to do it? And one of the ways we can ascertain that is if we have the money to do it.
That's right.
If we don't have the money to do it, then it must not be.
At least not yet.
Because apparently he owns all the money.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he wants that done and wants me to do it, it won't be Bank of America that's funding it.
I sure hope not.
It'll be the money will be here, and it won't show up mysteriously. He'll give us the way to make the profit to do it.
Yeah.
It might show up mysteriously, but that seldom happens.
Very rare.
And that's why they call it miracle, because it's seldom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I haven't really lived my life from miracle to miracle. I've lived my life from production to production, but God gave me two hands, a mind, a work ethic, energy, boundless energy to work.
Pray like it all depends on God, work like it all depends on you.
Exactly. And so, when you're talking about financial independence, you need to think about independent from what? Because I believe in becoming wealthy, but I don't know if you ever really become independent. As a matter of fact, you might become more dependent, because I'm convinced the more stuff you own, the more repairmen you have to know. I mean, you're more interdependent the bigger your footprint is.
More money, more problems.
Yeah, it is in that sense, or more responsibility.
Yeah, for sure.
And so more, and you see things you never saw before. You feel a responsibility towards folk that are struggling that you never felt before, because you're able to do something about it. And so, I don't know much about this FIRE movement, but if it has to do with, I want to pile up a bunch of money so I don't have to do anything.
Yes.
Then that's the exact opposite of what we teach.
It's all tied into that minimal Monday, I don't want to work. It's all tied together in that.
If you hate your job,
and that's where
you should change jobs.
That's where the crux is.
You should go to kencoleman.com and get a different job. Get something, do work that has meaning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you hate your job, of course you want to get out of it.
I'm going to work 15 years of my life and completely burn the candle at both ends. It's something I hate, with people I hate, in a toxic environment, to pile up enough cash to escape, when I could have just quit.
Yeah. And I mean, these people with the FIRE movement, their sacrifice, I mean, the amount that they're putting into investments, I mean, they're living on a quarter of their income. They're putting much. It's okay, but I'm saying, at 34, you retire? You're
not going to get free.
No.
You don't get free this side of heaven. I mean, you don't get free. You're all you do is you're going to move from one thing to the next thing is all. And so this idea, I'm going to be independent. Now, you can be independent of having to work for a jerk.
Yes.
But that requires keeping your lifestyle low and your assets up.
And I think really the crux of that is when we talk about this all the time, when you become debt free, it does change the way you work, because you're no longer working simply because you have to pay bills, simply because you have to prop up a lifestyle. You start to decide what you really enjoy doing, what you'd really like to spend your time doing, what matters to you, putting your effort towards. And that is something that I think is very noble, as opposed to just saying, I don't want to work anymore.
Right. Yeah. So I can come alongside sacrificing to win.
Mm-hmm.
I can come alongside piling up a big old pile of assets, prospering.
Yep.
I can come alongside becoming successful financially. To the extent you want to do that, you got me on your team. You got the Ramsey folks on your team. But I will tell you, as an old guy, you're not going to become independent. You're going to discover it's quite the opposite, that you're more interdependent than ever before. You cannot escape if you're not the Unabomber, and even he didn't escape, okay? So you really aren't, this mythology, I'm going to pile up a bunch of cash and move to Costa Rica and nobody's ever going to see me again. Yeah, but you have no humans in your life that know you and love you. Where's your family? Where's your friends? Where's your history? You're just going to go live in a foreign country where no one knows who you are, all by your lonesome self. That's called mental illness, okay? I mean, really. Human beings need long, deep, gratifying relationships. And wealth is not to escape from that. It's to embrace that.
That's very good.
And to accentuate that. And so this idea that you're somehow going to be independent, that you're not going to have any problems or any people to deal with, it's quite the opposite. Let me tell you what wealth does. 100% of the time, it magnifies you. It makes you more of what you already are. So if you're kind, you're going to become unbelievably kind. If you're a generous person, you're going to become what we call a philanthropist. If you have a problem with anger, God help the people in your life if you get money. God help them. If you are a crook and you get money, you're going to do crook on steroids, man. You're going to do it. Whatever you do, you get money, you're going to do it big.
You want to know what? But there's part of that, too, with this retirement thing, because if you are that person, if you're a generous person, if you have a servant heart, if you are a person who loves helping up, it's going to be hard for you to not work.
Well, because you're going to want to do more.
You're going to want to do more. Yeah. So,
see, in other words, I get a whole lot more personal, spiritual, emotional, mental health satisfaction out of doing this show, out of meeting someone, two couples who just paid off their house at the break, right? I get more out of that than I do income.
Yeah.
There's no income that offsets that meaning. So if you cannot escape man's need for meaning.
That's right.
Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. I read it 25 years ago, and I just read it again the other day. And it was like it was brand new. It was long enough ago that I read it that I think I forgot the whole thing. But Man's Search for Meaning. But it doesn't come in a pile of assets.
No.
So you're not going to get enough assets to not have a need to produce something for the good of others. That is innate in you. It is part of your DNA. You do not get to escape society because of wealth. Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. So don't look for financial independence. Look for some financial security, not pure security. There's no way you get enough to ever be 100% secure. But look for, I'm going to have where I don't have to worry about the money for a bag of Doritos, right? I mean, I don't have to worry about that. One less thing. And, and look for some security. Look for the ability to change your family tree. Look for the ability to be unreasonably generous. Look for the ability for your wealth to create enough income that you don't have to work.
That's right. You want to.
Then work anyway.
Yes.
Doing something. Wow. I hadn't even thought about that stuff in a while.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to Ramsey Everyday Millionaires. To learn more about how to plan for retirement, visit RamseySolutions.com/retire or click the link in the show notes. Ramsey Solutions is a paid non-client promoter of participating pros. Learn more at RamseySolutions.com/SmartVestor.